Thank you, Talitha. So welcome everyone. We really appreciate you coming signing on Friday afternoons for our friendly discussions as part of the Friday afternoon learning community of NIST Falcon. And as always, we have different presenters come in and tell us about neat, impactful, um, educational initiatives or techniques or ways that we can support students and instructors nowadays. And I am really excited because I've been trying to get Jackie to come and talk to us about this for a while now. Um, as someone rolls a cart in the background, but that's okay. Um, we are both in North Carolina, but Jackie has a really extensive uh, education trajectory. Uh, she was a UNC Spire postdoc, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not familiar with the UNC Spire system, it's part of the Iraq test teaching postdoc. So she obtained experience and training to be a biology education scholar. And before that, she was at UT Southwestern Medical Center, and before that, at Campbell University. Since then, after doing a postdoc, a teaching postdoc with Spire, uh, she has been at Wake Technical Community College doing some really fantastic stuff. I always try to emphasize how much our partners and neighbors here at Wake Tech are doing, and uh, you've been there for a decade and a half. And now you're director of the High Impact Practices, associate dean, doing a whole bunch of really cool stuff at this really leading community college at our state. And I've learned about this project and program, both being involved a little with it, but also because we've received some of your students and they come in super excited, super well trained, and ready to do something in STEM. So what I'm going to share with you in the chat is a link for the STEM Academic Research and Training START program at Wake Tech, Wake Tech Community College. And hopefully, Jackie will tell us a little bit about how this came about and what you have been doing and some of the impact it has had on students. It has certainly impacted us in raising awareness of what you all are doing and what we could be doing better. And I'm excited that you're joining us. So welcome, Jackie.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And I will echo thank you for sharing your Friday. Many of us are Friday afternoons with me. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation here. We are a Microsoft school and not a Zoom school. So give me a little grace. Did I share my screen? Did that work?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I'm gonna make you guys big again so I can see you. So as Carlos said, I run a couple of different things, but I'm the Associate Dean of Math and Science at Wake Tech, but I also am the director of our undergraduate research program, which is START is our acronym, but it stands for STEM Academic Research and Training. And Recently, also, I am the director of our High Impact Practices Council, which we have, everything needs an acronym, right? So we are the Eagles. So our acronym is SOAR, SOAR. And so it stands for Student Opportunities for Advancement and Research. But today I wanted to talk about the START program and how we are using undergraduate research to retain our students and to give them an idea of STEM identity so that they can persist when they transfer to the four-year institutions. I usually start talking a little bit about the fact that I'm very aware that we are a community college, that undergraduate research for the sake of pure research is not something that's in our wheelhouse. So a lot of what we are doing is using undergraduate research as a carrot to get students involved in mentorship. So a lot of our students are either coming part-time or they're fitting school into this really busy life of taking care of family and working. And so if you ask them if they want to receive mentorship, a lot of them will say, I'll do that later. I don't have time. And we know that if we can give them mentorship and get them involved, that they're more likely to persist. So undergraduate research is that carrot that we use to do that. Oops, that was not the slide that I meant to go to. But I will start here because this is the slide that wants to show up. A lot of this work, most of this work, is funded by the National Science Foundation, and this is acknowledgement of that, as well to say that these are my opinions and not the opinions of NSF. So I wanted to get us started with some thought questions. And so this is a Friday afternoon. I'm going to try to be as engaging as possible. And so I would really like for you to kind of type some of your answers in the chat, but don't hit send yet. So kind of type them. I'm going to read the questions, and then I'm going to give a lot of people time to answer, and then I'll read them. So the questions, and you can choose if you want to answer all of them or just one of them. But how do you get students to actually touch their dreams? So a couple of deans ago, this was her kind of mantra, is that if we really want students to succeed, especially here at the community college system where, we have students that come in and they want to be engineers, but they're basically in high school level math. So for them to get to calculus 3 just seems so far away. Or when life kind of throws hurdles at them, how do they keep going? And so how do we let them touch their dreams? How do we get them to persist so that it doesn't seem so far away? The second question is how do we foster a sense of connectedness for our students within the STEM community? So a lot of our students who come to us feel like they don't belong in STEM, that because of their background or their lack of experiences, that they don't have a place there. They're not connected to that community. So what is it that we can do to let them know that STEM really is for all? And for the STEM workforce to be successful, we need this variety of perspectives. And the last question is, how do we empower students to take control of their academic journey and ultimately their careers? So kind of take a few minutes, put things in the chat. And then as you get them, you can go ahead and hit send, and I'll start to read some of them. So Carlos, I may need some help because I have my window here, but I do not see the chat anymore.
I can be the chat reader. We've
Sure.
got Pankaj says mentor their ideas and motivate them for number one. Kate says actually ask them about dreams and be enthusiastic when they share. Roz says uh, we have to believe in their dreams too and show them how. Brenda, bring back former students. Oh, I like that one. Who are in their dream careers now. Melanie says, have students share their goals and connectedness to their own lived experiences. I like that one too. Kathy, provide them with a feeling that they can, all caps, do meaningful work, approach those who are succeeded. I can't read today. Succeeding and give opportunities to engage research. Oh, Latanya, yay. Expose students to more career options, seminars, field trips. Have exposure, part of course content. Luria, more exposure to real scientists and science happening locally. Tian Hung, um, connect life and STEM career in assignments. Jim, help them plan when they take their courses, they can see a path through college. Yes. And Kate, for number 2, take them to conferences or host workshops, seminars on campus. Ooh.
Awesome. Thank you all for participating. And Carlos, thank you for reading and kind of helping me navigate all these different virtual platforms here. So one of the ways, and this isn't a surprise given how I've kind of introduced our topic, but one of the ways that we do this is through undergraduate research. And even though we do some course undergraduate research experiences within our courses, this particular program is specifically geared to be outside of the classroom. And so later on, if you want to talk about the reasons why we chose to be outside versus inside the classroom, I'll be happy to talk about it. But just know that all of this program happens outside of their course content. And so when we decided to design our undergraduate research program, we used this community of inquiry model. And so in this model, it has 3 different presences. It has a social presence here, which kind of is more that supported learning environment. It has a cognitive presence, which says that you're going to do collaborative activities that will construct meaning. You'll have inquiry, critical thinking, problem solving. And then you have a teaching presence, which is kind of that instructor facilitation. And that true educational experiences really happen when all 3 of these overlap. And so we have been extremely intentional to make sure that each one of these presences are a part of our program so that this educational experience could happen in the program. And as I said, we are funded through the National Science Foundation. We began this work before there was a grant. So our first student started in 2016. We started pretty small with some institutional support. And then in 2021, we were able to get this National Science Foundation grant. What this grant was able to do is 2 different things, and I've kind of highlighted these in green and orange. In orange, we wanted to improve the program. So we were able to have funding. So we pay our students for doing undergraduate research. This is considered an internship program through our college. So they can get that internship experience, that college work experience. And for a lot of our students, right, they couldn't volunteer. They don't have it in their life experiences to do unpaid internships. It also lets them know that we value what they're doing because we're paying them for their time. We pay our mentors as well. So at WayTech, research is nowhere in our tenure. It is all about teaching. And so in order to kind of help mentors know that this is important, we are paying them for our time. I can say that our faculty believe in this program, and they have volunteered almost 400 hours of their time before they were funded. And so they helped build the program. I am the spokesperson, the one who talks about these programs, but it is built because of our wonderful faculty and their belief in what we are doing. We have a lot of community building events, and I'll kind of talk through those as well. And then we also have training. So we have something that we call principles of research training. I didn't plan to go on to it today. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. But for the students, for the first and second year students, these are online asynchronous modules. It's supposed to help them to understand the culture of STEM research. So this would be where your responsible research of training is, data analysis, how to read a paper, how to present, kind of the basics of STEM research. And then we also offer training to our mentors as well. The other really cool part of the grant is we were able to do some assessments. And so we are running a random control trial with our students to see whether or not participation in the program has an impact on these students. And we've gathered both qualitative and quantitative data. So getting back to those thought questions, how do we allow our students to touch their dreams? And so as we were kind of constructing the program, this was one of the things that were kind of forefront in my mind. How do we really get them to believe that they're scientists, to feel like they're scientists now, and it's not this thing that's so far off in the future? So this first picture here, we have some engineering projects. So these three students are building a seismograph. So they're all engineering students, but it's a collaboration between the geologists and the engineers. So we talk about interdisciplinary stuff there. We have some lab-based project. This is Gracie. She's doing some microbiology work. As Carlos talked about, we also are partnering with our four-year institutions that are close by. So the other kind of aspect of this program is to build transfer capital with our students while they're still at Wake Tech. So some of our projects, this is with the Oracle lab at NC State. So it's an organic and carbon electron lab. And the students actually go to NC State and do research there. So they are starting to build that connection to NC State before they transfer. So once they transfer, they don't feel like they're starting from scratch again. They've already started to establish some relationships there. And there's some simple things like, I now know where to park. I know where to grab something to eat. If I have a question, I know somebody to ask. And so what we have seen with especially transfer students is though the community colleges do really well at preparing them academically, they feel like when they transfer, they're starting all over again. And a lot of it is those networks. So we're trying to build those networks, and some of those projects do that. For the students that don't participate in those projects, we still offer transfer institution campus visits. So we take them there, we show them, we get those connections where we can. We also have some industry partners. So this picture right here is with students, excuse me, working with the North Carolina Department of Transportation in road work design. And so a lot of our engineering students like that project. This guy right here at the computer is Damien. You'll see him again in another minute. So again, just kind of showing a variety of the different kind of labs that we have. We have ecology projects as well. So it doesn't matter if you're interested in lab science, field science, we try to offer it all. We have virtual projects for online students. And as was mentioned in the chat, we take the students to conferences as well, so that they can, again, see themselves within the STEM community and believe what they're doing is important. So we talked about this idea of connectedness. And so we try to connect our students together so that they feel part of the community, the college community, the START community, and the STEM community. So I talked about, or you've seen this picture, this is our showcase. So every semester we hold a poster session where students come and share their research. this is really supported by our community. And so I don't know if you can see my pointer, but our college president is here, and he always comes to these and he talks to all of our students about their projects. Several high-level administrators come. We have people from the North Carolina Community College System office that come. And so our students kind of get this idea that they really are a big deal, and can share their research. We also just have plain socials. And so trying to get the students to connect to each other, with students that have their same interest. And so this is Kayla. We paint pumpkins in the fall, and she's got a picture there of Paddington the bear. We hold orientations that are in person as well as virtual every semester. And this is the group that showed up for one of our orientations on the North Campus. And then we also have START ambassadors. And START ambassadors are students that have gone through the program for at least one semester, and they want to tell other students about the program. So we bring them in, we train them in the art of storytelling. And then once they've developed their STEM story, we send them out to our classrooms, we send them out to campus events, we send them out to high schools, and they just get to share their story. The other thing we do, and here's Damien again, is something called I Am STEM Researcher posters. So these are our START students. And so we take a picture of them usually at the showcase, and then we take a picture of them doing their thing in the lab, and we get a quote. And these are posted all over campus. And the idea is that our students can see other students just like them doing the research. And so this isn't a program for a particular group or whatever. And we get the comments that will let our students know that. So Damien's comment here is, START is the perfect introduction to interning. I was connected with diverse mentors, researchers, and professionals that wanted to see me succeed and gave me a glimpse at how valuable a future career in my major could be. And Carlos, I don't know if you know Damien, but he is actually an aerospace engineer at NC State. So he is pursuing his dream. And then ways that we connect to the STEM community at large. I've showed this showcase, so they start to really feel like STEM professionals, and talk and be the expert in the room. But then we also take them to state conferences. That's Ariana at the NC Space Symposium. We go to a couple of other local conferences, and then we go to national conferences as well. And so you've seen a couple of different posters for IA4. So again, just getting them exposed and connected to the STEM community while they are freshmen and sophomores. And then that third question that I asked you was about empowering students. And so I felt that some of these quotes were the best way that I could show how we were able to kind of empower the students. And what we have found, I don't know that I thought this would be the case, but what we have found is we have instilled a lot of confidence in our students. And this carries over to academic confidence because they start to really see themselves as scientists and understand that intelligence is, and this was a quote from one of our first students before we got the grant. He talked about the fact that this program we understood, and helped him to understand that there's different forms of intelligence. And so you may be good in the classroom or you may not be good in the classroom, but you can be good in the lab or at STEM research. And that once you gained that confidence of doing well in the lab, your academics improved because you knew you could do it. So building that confidence in our students. So you've seen Glory's picture before, but she says that being in START provided me with mentorship and opportunities that a first-generation college student like myself often lack access to. I gained the confidence to know that I belong in STEM and can achieve anything with hard work. She's gone on to do an internship with the IT department of the North Carolina government. And then we have Jose. So his was START allowed me to explore my interest in statistics and data analysis using real data. With the START program, I've been able to pivot my career interest to one that intersects healthcare and statistics. And then Analia said, being part of START has shown me that no matter what background you come from, you're capable of being in the STEM field. And so I've shared a lot of kind of the stories and the quantitative or the qualitative, but I wanted to share some quantitative data with you. So I talked about the fact that we've done a random control trial. And so what we've done is we've asked all our faculty to talk about our program. We have flyers that are hanging everywhere around the campus. We sent out the ambassadors to talk the classrooms. Anything that we could think of to get the word out, we've tried to do it. And so from this, students will then apply to the program, and they choose. We have the projects already set, and they will choose their top 4 projects that they want to be a part of. Of those students that apply, we then randomly choose 50 to be part of the program, and then the ones that are not randomly chosen are our control group. All students complete a survey as part of the application process, and then we send that same survey out at the end of the semester as well. So what we have gotten from those surveys is that participation in the program has a positive, statistically significant impact on STEM career awareness, comfort with STEM research, scientific literacy, connectedness to STEM, as well as transfer competence. And then what our administrators really like is we can also show that participation in the program has a statistical significance for credits earned, even in the study semester, because we were concerned that students participate for 60 hours over the course of the semester. 40 hours of that is in the research lab, 15 hours of that is doing the research training, and 5 hours is community building. And so are they having to take less classes to be able to fit this in? And what we're finding is even if they are taking less classes, they are being more successful because they are earning more credits at the end of the semester that they participate in START. Therefore, they have more cumulative credits by the end of their study semester. And then if we look at one semester past their first semester in START, they are more likely to persist at Wake Tech that following semester, and they are more likely to accumulate more credits. So we do have an impact for students in participating in the program. Also, we ask them kind of what you're saying. And so we look at our questions are, I can see myself being a STEM professional. And so you can see that we have a very high success of them saying very true of me or completely true of me. I feel confident that I'll be successful at a 4-year institution, again, in the high 70s. I am developing a plan to pursue further education for a STEM career. So almost 100% there. I am confident that I can have a STEM career, again, in the 90s. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second and ask if there are any questions of the program or of me before we kind of do a engaging activity with everybody.
What questions do people have? Oh,
Yeah, do I have a single campus? I do not. So Wake Tech has 9 campuses over the county. We usually have projects on our northern campus, our southern campus, sometimes our RTP campus, and online.
I could just, if you don't mind, I'll just ask instead of
Sure.
putting it in the chat. What semester? I know I'm also at a community college, and I know that sometimes it's part-timers, it's hard to gauge semester, but when are they starting? When are they doing this in their career with at Wake Tech?
Most of them are doing it in their second or third semester, though we do have some students, because if they've gone to the high school, it's their first semester, but usually it's their second semester. Any other questions? Okay, so what I would like for us to do now is to kind of share our everybody's best practices, because we're all doing something, and I want to learn from you as much, because there's much for me to learn. So Carlos has set up some breakout rooms for us, and the topics for the different rooms is room 1 is touching their dreams. So how are you helping your students to touch their dreams? Room number 2, the topic is connecting students to their STEM community. So if you think you're doing something that's really cool that helps students kind of connect to that STEM community, or want to figure out what other people are doing, hop onto that room. Room 3 is empowering students to their journey. And then room 4 is kind of just a generic, what are you doing for undergraduate research, and how are you making it work? Or if you want to have questions about that. So we end at 5. Is that right, Carlos? Okay, so let's take about 10 minutes in our breakout rooms, so about 4:45, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of report out and share best practices for everybody. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan, and I'm opening rooms shortly. So they should be open now. And I see people joining different ones. Thank you. I think I got the names right of the rooms. No typos. Room 1. Room 3 only has one person right now. Room 2. Good, good. And if someone needs help getting to a room, just let me know. And we can just unmute and let me know which group, and we will send you to that breakout room.
Carlos, this is Kathy. Can you send me to room 4, please?
Yes.
How should I be doing this?
Kathy, I can send you to room 4.
Okay.
And it should give you the option now. Anyone else? Mina, Ronald? So we have 2 main groups having conversations.
Yep.
Which is okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure kind of where people would be and what they were interested, so that
Right?
worked
No,
well.
this is perfect. I love this program and how qualitative, quantitative data, really neat. And we do see some. We see students, and Amilcar is now in graduate school,
Yes.
doing really well. NIEHS research was my TA for 2 semesters. Really motivated people. People come in with. I think room 3 has it. You empower students through connecting them to a community and touching their dreams.
So he is actually going to come and speak to our current students in March.
Oh, awesome. Good.
So we had another student at UNC Charlotte that's she's getting ready to graduate. And so she came and spoke. And then we've got a couple of graduate students from UNC. They're not our transfers, but they're transfers from the community college, and they're doing graduate work as well. So that's what we found is the students, they don't want to read papers. They really want to, see students like themselves and talk to people who are doing it. And so we've kind of shifted a little bit of what we do there.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And I did not realize you all have 9 campuses now. That was so. How do you manage? Do you float around, or do you stay at your base?
So it depends. For right now, we have actually closed our building on South because we are renovating. But at the same time we did that, we opened the campus on East in Wendell. So my primary duty station is North. And so the dean has been extremely strategic on where our leaders are. And so each campus will have a leader, and we just know that you are the leader for the division when you're on that campus, and any of our faculty can come to you, and the faculty kind of know that. Teams helps a lot. So before teams, I literally would jump in my car and go from one side of the county to the other for different meetings or to talk to faculty. And now after COVID, we're so used to this type of interaction that most people know that I'm just a Teams click away.
Right.
And so they don't even, like, on the North campus, even the North campus is big enough that like I have some faculty on the edges of the campus. And so they don't want to walk. So they'll just get me on Teams.
Oh, yep. And you like Teams?
I do. It's what we've always had.
Yeah.
And so it's what I've learned.
And how many faculty are involved with START?
So any given semester, we usually have about 18. And so we have about 100 faculty in the division. So a good 15% of the faculty are involved in it.
That is awesome.
And very honestly, that's our bottleneck is I have more students that I know what to do with. I actually have more money than that. But it's getting the faculty as mentors.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, right, because we're doing a new QEP, and so there's all kinds of projects to get involved with. And so it's more that competing for the extra.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, that is cool.
And so I think as I kind of talked about, START, especially with this data, has shown, the impact that we can have and the importance. And so the high impact practices have come together, and now we're now SOAR. And so that has what we call Eagle Innovation Challenge. And so it is for students. We used to have to do an applied benchmarking. So it's student applied benchmarking. So it doesn't matter what their major, they find something that they think could be better on the campus and they write a proposal. And depending on the proposal, they then fund 10 of them and they get an industry mentor and they work on their project and making the campus better, or whatever that is.
Oh, cool.
So we have Eagle Innovation Challenge, we have Global Education, we have Honors, Service Learning, Peer Tutoring, START, Pathways Male Mentoring, and Wake Invested Women Mentoring. We're kind of all under this umbrella.
Do they interconnect in some, like, do you have events where people can meet each other from different groups or different programs?
That's what we are starting. So this just started in August. And so right now what we're trying to do is help the leaders understand where we connect. So it's something simple like, because we could show the need, we were able to get the print shop to get a large format printer so we can actually print our own printers for our showcase.
Yay.
But it was because we could show that like 3 or 4 different practices needed them. And so it was worth the investment.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and
oh,
then
that is good.
the college as a whole actually just gave us $500,000 because they realized that like this is student success. And when we are sharing best practices and promoting each other's best practices, that we're making each other better. And this really can be used to do the needle. We just
That
got funding from the Duke Energy Foundation for a data coordinator so that all of the practices can be collecting data and starting to analyze their data.
oh, that is awesome. Ooh, what type of data?
And so it depends on the different entities. Looks like is it about time to bring them back? Give them about a minute to wrap up their conversations, maybe.
Yeah,
I'll see that 45 seconds. You got it.
I
Perfect.
see that. I also yeah.
Um, so some of them, it's just simply like knowing their students, right? Are they part-time? Are they full-time? What kind of majors are there? And then some of them have been here longer, so they can start to look at kind of retention, GPA, the same thing that START is looking at. So all the different entities are in different places, so we're trying to kind of get us all on the same page.
That is good. 10 seconds, so people should be coming back. Oh, I am glad you have support for such a valuable program and support to do more stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so now they are closing. So people will come back.
They're talking to the last second here. That's good
They are. That's a
conversation.
good thing. And this will be good. Welcome back. We hope you had fantastic discussions and met new people.
All right, so the people that were in room 1, touching your dreams, what did you guys discuss?
We kind of talked about differences in our institutions where we're teaching, and then we kind of talked about some of the things we've done to try to help our students realize their dreams, helping them figure out the steps that they have to go through, trying to make sure they have opportunities to know about their options.
I know I was thinking about the fact that if I knew now what I knew back when I was in
Yeah.
college, I may actually be somewhere else, right? That I didn't know
Yeah.
that there were so many options. Any like examples that just kind of shown out that you want to shout out?
I think the biggest thing was just meeting students where they start, right? So you know you have to be truthful about who your student population is, and what kind of assistance they need. Because sometimes the goals are out there, right? And it's going to take a lot of work. And if depending on what the background of the student would be, there can be a lot of things. So one of the things we talked about was English as so students who are in the ESOL, right, and trying to get into the American kind of university system and trying to figure it out, and how there's a lot of steps they need to go through to be able to access what's out
Yes.
there.
Yes. I love that. And that is very much a mantra of the community college, right? To meet your students exactly where they are. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
All right. So you all that were in, I'll use my Southern slang, y'all that were in the undergraduate research room. What kind of best practices did you guys share? What did you talk about?
I shared what I do through my class, my biology lab. In terms of research, I use a citizen science project just because our resources are so limited. And I don't really have a big four-year partner in close proximity to my location. So that was one way that I found it possible for me to access some reagents and access to the expert to be able to collaborate. And also they had infrastructure like place to post the final data and share it with the world that didn't require me to get students to travel to go somewhere or something, because again, and it was something that I can do with the resource that I had in my teaching lab.
And so even with START, one of our projects is the Small World Initiative, and it's for a lot of the same reasons that you talked about. And so, yeah, that's great. Anything else that you guys talked about?
I think getting faculty buy-in, we didn't get to talk too much about it, but it's just something that I want to explore more, with folks at some point, because, as you said, it's a lot of volunteering to begin with, but how do we recruit faculty to do this with us?
So some of the things that we did, one, I got a grant to pay them, but I don't pay them a lot. It's really not worth it, right? But one of the good parts of partnering with a four-year institution is I had a lot of my faculty that would come up to me and say, I'm very excited about mentoring a student, but I've been out of the research lab for a very long time. I don't have the time to come up with my own project. And so I went to people like Carlos and other people at the four-year institutions, and I said, let us be your postdocs. Give us a project that's on the back burner, that you have nobody to work on it. And our faculty will mentor our students on the project, and we'll give you the data, right? We don't really care about the data. We just want the experience of working on undergraduate research. And a lot of labs did that. So some of them, and we did different layers. So we said, you can have low engagement where you give us the idea, you meet with the mentor to kind of explain the idea, and then you're hands off and you just leave it. And then at the end of the semester, we'll give you what data we have. And I was very upfront. I said, these are freshmen who may or may not have had biology or whatever. So I can't guarantee you what kind of data or how much data that we will have. But whatever data we have, it's yours. And then at the other end, we have the high engagement. And those are the students who actually go to the universities. And a lot of times what they do is they use this as an opportunity for their undergrads to get experience mentoring, or their first year graduate students. And that's who actually mentors them. And I said, or you could go somewhere in the middle. So our evaluators literally hate me almost because I am so flexible. And I'm like, I will meet you exactly where you are. Tell me what you can give and we will make it work. And I could then come back to my faculty and say, here's a project I need somebody to mentor. And like this semester, I had a mentor who said, you know what? I got a crazy teaching schedule. I'm out. And I said, totally get it. Good luck on your classes. Hope to see you again. We put out the list of projects that we had with 4 years, and he came back to me and he said, that's too exciting for me not to work on. Give me some students again. And so that was one of the ways that I have found to do buy-in is that I'm bringing projects to them instead of asking them to come up with them. We also have a tenure process, and so it works for their faculty rank as well. Any other last thoughts or questions for our last 5 minutes? Well, thank you for engaging with me, letting me share. I say this is kind of like my work baby. And so just like we all love to share pictures of our kids, I love to talk about the program. And these students, I love to highlight them. They're amazing, amazing students and do a lot of work. So thank you for sharing your time with me.
Thank you.
I love those posters. And so I think our department just bought a plotter, and I am going to make I am a STEM student poster with some of my research students. I love it.
Well,
It was
good.
great.
And we actually
Jack,
got that idea at a conference, so it's not even ours.
and do you share those posters on the website? I remember we.
I don't think we have those. We have something similar. It was our first
Yeah,
generation of them.
awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. This is such an exciting and impactful uh, project for students, for as education research, for the community, and I think everyone benefits the 2 year, the 4 year, the students, and the instructors. So I love what you've set up, and hopefully we can learn more from you all.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for sharing your Friday afternoon with us. We hope uh, that the weekend is a relaxing weekend after whatever weather you experienced. And Melanie, will we see people in 2 weeks? Is that?
Oh, good call. Let me check our schedule super quick. I knew we were kind of off sequence for a little bit.
Sorry for putting you on the spot again.
No problem. Okay. Our next date is March 14. So we're going to go 2 weeks, and then we're going to have our next session on March 14.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you all have a great weekend. And thank you again, Jackie. This is every time I learn more about your programs, plural.
Mhm.
So you'll have the recording. Did you want the PowerPoints at all, or is the recording
Ooh, if
sufficient?
you're willing to share, that would be awesome.
Sure, I'll send you my PowerPoints.
Perfect. Thank you, because we have an unlisted YouTube channel, and we include links to the slides when possible. So
Cool.
this would be great.
Well, this is awesome to have that community of educators across the nation. That's great.
It happened. It happened before I got involved, and it was really a great place when we were all online to chat and learn from others. And it's tough on Fridays. Um, but now we continue, and we each speaker, each person brings something to the community that you made Keith and several others think about what is possible at their institutions. So I hope this continues.
And Jackie, I do have one question for you. I'm at a community college and I've been able to implement cures in my upper level courses, my 200 level courses like genetics and cell molecular. But I've received a lot of pushback from faculty in my department about Bio 1, which is the first course in the sequence for science majors. And I've been at my institution for 22 years, and I can tell you,